Howdy folks. So this last section is on how to write a results section for your paper. Should be pretty dang straightforward. There's not much to it. We've actually covered most of the material already, so let's take a look. Your results section should accomplish four things. First, give any introductory information for readers that they need to know to understand your numbers. What am I talking about? Let's say that you had a survey on a scale from 1 to 5, but most of the times the survey is used on a 25-point scale. So you could say we gathered data on a 1 to 5 scale, however we multiplied it by 5 so that it works in the normal version. You could have gathered data for test scores, and maybe the test scores included bonus points. So you would talk about that and you'd say we subtracted 5 points from each test score because of those bonus points. However, that could be a problem later on, yada yada yada, and just any information that people need to know to understand what was going on. Next, the analyses and the reported results. So that's stuff that we learned in those previous videos. The layman's terms interpretations of the results, that's something that's going to be a little bit new, but not too complicated. Basically, you're just going to say, what did the results mean in normal language? Finally, references to graphs. Instead of spending a whole time writing out a result section for you, I've just got one example one that I'll post with this video telling you or showing you what a previous student has done in a previous year. So here's your results section. Here's what they said. First, they didn't have any introductory information to go through, so an independent samples t-test revealed there was no significant difference between the scores for levels of intoxication between males, averages and standard deviations, and the scores for maximum for a level of intoxication for females, means and standard deviation. See table 1, here's your t-test results, see table 2. So the only thing that I might encourage you to do here is if you have multiple parentheses in a row, instead of doing that, you can include them all in one parenthesis and just divide them with a semicolon. Same thing over here. You really want to keep your statistics in a parenthesis. It just helps keep things clean. So instead of a comma there, I'll make another semicolon. Put semicolon here. And there we go. We have this whole parenthetical in one big parenthesis divided up by semicolons. You'll notice that this t-test report has your df value, the t numbers, the p numbers. Sometimes they only do 2 decimal places. I would encourage 3, but it's kind of up to you. And then we have the layman's terms interpretation. What does that mean? Because there was no significant difference, males and females did not differ in degree of intoxication. So it's kind of repeating what this says, but in a way that anyone can understand. There was no difference in how much males and females got drunk. Then they do some more analyses that were part of their research question, but you kind of just put them all together. Sometimes you bunch different analyses into different paragraphs if they go together or are separated, but for our paper, we're only going to have really 1, maybe 2 analyses for the confound variable. So that'll be it. As long as you include any introductory information, your analyses, your mean standard deviations, your results, and make sure you reference the graphs as well as your layman's terms thing, your results section should be very easy to write and pretty straightforward. For the purposes of this week's activities, we're going to be writing the results section using sample data, so everyone kind of does the same thing. But when you do your final paper, you might just change a little bit of stuff here and there, so you're actually using data for your actual data that you want to gather. And at this point, I will encourage you guys to go ahead and start gathering data using your surveys or whatever else you needed to use. It's not required. You can just use pretend data that we're going to use from that you can just grab from any of the data sets that we have in Jamovi. But if you want, you're more than encouraged to use real data. And you can just let me know somehow if you want. We can put that together into a research book at the end of the semester and learn more about how whatever research people did. All right. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful week.